After spending 2 months working at a hostel in Thessaloniki, I packed my bags and set off for the picturesque mountains of Tuscany in northern Italy. I was leaving the bustling city behind, heading towards the more remote side of Italy, filled with mountain villages and temperamental signal. I was finding my way to an off-the-grid farm, specializing in cheesemaking. To give you some context, earlier this summer I was taught how to craft cow's cheese in Domodossola, sparking my curiosity about the difference in operations when working with goats. In creating this video, my aim is to illuminate the various aspects of that process, guiding you through the steps of making cheese and showcasing the activities on a farm. So I've relocated. I've gone from the second most populated city in Greece to the middle of nowhere in Italy. I'm up in the mountains and I couldn't be more happy because I didn't really enjoy working at the hostel. So I've arrived here and it's just got that tranquility and peace of the mountains, the animals, and the people seem really friendly. I guess I'll get settled in, find my room, and then I'll also get ready for work tomorrow with the goats. On Michelangelo's farm, there were no electronic alarm clocks. It was more traditional than that. My wake-up call was the crowing rooster. At 7:30, Michel the shepherd takes the goats out to graze along the mountaintop, while I was appointed to start cleaning the old hay that had accumulated. Apparently I must have been quite efficient at it, because I had the privilege of mucking out the entire barn a few days later. I learnt that when it comes to producing cheese, it all begins with the animals on the farm. Think of it like the Lion King. Every animal on the farm has its purpose. The goats are there for their milk, the dogs protect the goats from the wolves and the hogs, the donkeys take on the heavy loads, the cats are the masters at dealing with the mice and the rats, and the chickens, well, they're the cleanup crew, and they're content with eating all the organic matter. So learning how to look after each of these animals is key for the farm to work, and that was my first lesson. My task this morning to begin with is just to move the hay from A to B for the horses. So I'm just shoveling it up here with this stick, and I'm surrounded by the goats, which is a really nice way to to spend the morning. Quite pleased with myself. I've managed to transform this area that was full of hay into a haven. So the horses now have enough hay to last them a day or two, I'd say, and this area is looking a lot cleaner than it was. Now that the goat house was all spruced up and looking like a palace, we awaited their return in the afternoon. Once they are back, they head straight to the barn, and just like the cows I used to look after in Domodossola, goats have a heavy appetite. Providing them with kibble and hay was one of my tasks, and they happily munch away while we go about collecting the milk. The goats need to be milked every 12 hours, so this happens at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Right now it's 6 p.m, so we're getting the milk, and this will be used in the cheese room that's just next door. The others are better at milking than me, but I'm going to attempt it with this goat right here and see how I do. So with milking, the first step is to do the initial squeezes and get out any bacteria that's in the milk, which I've done now, and then the rest is to get it in. After we gather the milk, we can then begin the cheese making process. Firstly, we pour the milk through a funnel that ensures that the milk is clean from any contaminants. We then heat the milk to pasteurize it. In cheese making, milk is typically heated at around 45 to 55 degrees, depending on the recipe and the type of cheese being produced. Following that, we incorporate rennet into the milk. You can see, enclosed within the small powdered bag, the enzymes that facilitate the separation of the milk into solid curds and liquid whey, which establishes the foundation for cheese production. From there, the milk essentially becomes thicker, and we are then able to cut the curd. We use a knife to separate the curd and the whey properly, and it's a delicate process. After which, we can release the excess whey into a separate barrel and begin gently removing the curd into a draining basket. This process is like molding clay, as it sets the shape of the cheese and removes any excess whey. At this stage, it's also common practice to flip the cheese, and we'll now hear from an expert who will demonstrate exactly how this is done. We flip the cheese every hour once it's been put into the mold, because the cheese will need to form a hard exterior, and the aim is to get it in at like 180 degrees, so it's now flat at the top. And this container here is heated, so it will retain the heat in a way that will preserve the cheese better. Once the cheese has undergone sufficient flipping, we transfer it to the fridge for aging. The last step, which you can see happening right now, is salting the cheese. By adding salt, we enhance the flavor, but it also prevents bacterial growth. Some cheeses may only require a few days to a few weeks of aging, while others may age for several months or even years. Therefore, it's crucial to inspect the older cheeses for any visible mold and brush it off to promote proper aging. Once all these steps are complete, the cheese is ready to be distributed and sold to the general public. We transported the cheese and set up a small stall in a mountain village called San Pellegrino in Alp. The village, situated at an altitude of 1,515 meters, attracts many visitors. Here, Michelangelo could take advantage of the tourists visiting the Tuscan scenery and sell off his cheese. I even attempted to sell cheese in Italian, but as you'll see, my Italian skills are lacking. Volete assaggiare il formaggio di Capri? Volete assaggiare il formaggio di Capra? My apologies to any Italians watching. However, we managed to sell all the cheese we brought, and that's what counted. It was a proud and gratifying moment in the journey. People loved Michelangelo's cheese, and so did I. And after a hard day of work, we returned to the farm to unwind for the evening. On the farm, I became accustomed to evenings spent sharing hearty meals and good wine with great company. Here, you can see me inviting everyone to join for dinner. I would often use a goat's bell. After the meal, we often gathered around a campfire, and in the mountains, the starry sky was a sight to behold, and we were often joined by the animals as well. What do you think, Mitch? Is this the right technique for it?
No.
My time at the farm was more than just about cheese making and goat care. It was a chance for me to dive deeper into Italian culture. Between chores, I managed to build my own desk from old stone and spend my spare moments studying, reading, and writing.
We also got to try our hand at making jam, trekking up the mountain with wooden combs to gather wild blueberries, and it was a tough day, but totally unforgettable. The farm was also full of surprises, making sure there was never a dull moment. We even began to build a new fence using power drills and hammers I've never seen before. I can't wait to go back and see how the farm has grown. Overall, my time at Michelangelo's farm taught me a lot, and I'm grateful for the chance to step out of my comfort zone. I hope you enjoyed following along as much as I enjoyed sharing it. And until next time, thanks for watching.
Cheers. Good. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
I know you're in there, you're just out of sight. Oh, time passages. Buy me a ticket on the last train home tonight.